Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee Wolf with Be Reborn Art and Healing, creating for Shawn Petite's creative team. Today I'm working on a 9x12 gallery depth canvas, and I'm going to do a poinsettia bouquet type of thing. And here I'm just kind of selecting my papers. These are all from Shawn's collage packs, and I'm just kind of arranging them around my canvas. I kind of have an idea in my mind as I lay these down, and it's just intuitive. It's not really, I don't really think there's a science behind it necessarily, but with most things that I create, I kind of follow my gut and I end up really liking how it ends up. And here I'm using another piece from a collage pack, which is just a script. It looked like some kind of a letter. I really appreciate having access to the collage packs because I use the papers all the time. And this paper is a really beautiful wood grain, which I am glad that I incorporated it, but I kind of wished I had done it a little bit differently or pushed it back into the background a little more than I did. But in the end, it all worked out and I was happy with the canvas in the end. So, and here I'm coming in with some music pages and the headings to some of those. The paper is really old. I got it from a garage sale, and I really love it. And then I cut out that pot out of the music paper, but I ended up using the picture side rather than the note side, as I really liked that. And then this is some concrete paste, I believe. And I did cover the whole pot and then realized that I still had to come through and use my stencils to create my bouquet. And so I did end up pulling a lot of that back off and left a good deal of texture in the end, but I did wipe it back. This is transparent yellow oxide, and I just wanted to get some yellow tone in the background around that pot, kind of a sunny feel, which in the end really helped lighten up a really dark background. And here I'm using phthalo green blue shade, I believe. Did not like the bluish tint to that, and wiped quite a bit of that back. And then that is raw sienna golden fluid acrylic. Again, just trying to bring back that yellow tone to the background. And here I'm coming in with the with Shawn's poinsettia stencil and kind of making my arrangement using the various angles of the stencil to create my bouquet so that it would look fairly natural. I haven't had a lot of success creating kind of a setting or a bouquet or anything with these stencils. I think I get a little too impatient. So this time I just really observed what I was doing, observed my placement. I used white, titanium white heavy body acrylic to stencil those on. And then there are also 4 different shapes and sizes of leaves on the stencil, which I also used to build the greenery around the bouquet. And I really liked this stencil. I'm not a big fan of seasonal art. I just never have really tried it. Seasons have always been somewhat difficult for me. So this was definitely pushing me way outside of my my limits, which I'm always glad for that because usually it's a very good surprise that we get when we try something new. And this is Shawn, another one of Shawn's stencils, and I will give it the name of it in the description box when I post the video. And here I am coming in with 2 different colors of golden fluid acrylic. This is the quinacridone red, and then I use the quinacridone crimson to create some of the darker shades in the flowers. This part of the video or the creating took me a really long time. Again, I was really trying to enjoy the process, kind of be one with what I was doing because it is seasonal. and is difficult for me. So I did decide I wanted to kind of bring in some yellow, some pinkish toned poinsettias into this piece. So I took golden heavy body acrylic in magenta and titanium white and mixed those together to create a paler pink. And I am going to use that on some of the flowers. And you'll see as we move through the video that I did have to come back over all of this a time or two as I lost some of the depth and some of the dimension. And so I fussed with it a lot, but that is part of the process. And I think the lesson, at least for me in that, is to persevere and to just really settle in and enjoy the process and know that, I can correct what I want to correct. I can leave some things as they are. And there is a lesson in that for me, whichever way I end up going, rather than kind of scrapping the process and giving up. It's important, I think, to push through the discomfort of things not being quite what you expected. But it turned out really, really beautiful in the end. I do kind of wish that I had pushed back the background a little bit. I didn't do that at all. I'm using new equipment in my studio, using a webcam and my laptop so that I can pause the video when I'm drawing or I'm doing other things that I don't necessarily need to tape. But what that meant is that I did forget to turn it on at points. And so there's some background stenciling that I do that you'll see here in a shot pretty shortly here that I apparently didn't turn the video on when I did that. It's the learning curve of trying new equipment and just trying to manage all the different things that you got to touch when you're creating. And it's new for me. It's very fun. I try to be lighthearted, but so that's the reality of creating sometimes. And I did come into on the leaves and brought in the quinacridone red. I've seen this done in a watercolor poinsettia painting, and I really liked that red. So and it added a lot of dimension and interest to the leaves rather than just being kind of green. And I did come back in and out of all of these leaves with the colors that I chose. This is the green gold. I used also the sap green in Deco Art Premium paint. And so you'll see me going around and around the canvas, balancing out those colors, and then coming in and refining those other the other greenery that I did with the stencil, with the other stencil from Shawn Petite's shop. So I really ended up loving it. The one thing that I did not like is that I didn't think very carefully about my vase and ended up painting it in a different color than probably was the best choice, and I ended up having to fix some things. But again, the process is just as important as the product, so I try to learn the lessons that I need to learn in that. And here's the green gold in the Deco Art Premium paint, as well as the sap green, and kind of just layering that up on the bottom portion of that pot, which I do realize as I'm looking at this is not symmetrical. But again, imperfection is okay. And I really try to be okay with that. I did fuss with it a little bit and try to round out that left-hand side of the bottom of the pot. I think I did correct it a little bit, but just really trying to be not too critical of what I'm doing and that. So, and I did come back into the top flowers there and added some other of that pink. And here's me trying to kind of salvage the top part of the pot, which I was very unhappy with. But it turned out okay in the end. I did end up coming in with the quinacridone red and painting that entire top piece, which meant I did have to come back into the leaves and do some more fussing with that so that they would stand out from the pot. But it turned out really nice, surprisingly. So I was really pleased with it. And there you're seeing the lace stencil that I did. And I did that with Shawn Petite's lace stencil, and forgot to turn the camera back on, apparently, probably after drying some portion of this piece. So, and here's just me coming in and adding some more lights to that. And then with a Q-tip, I used the quinacridone red and made some berries. And another piece that I neglected to tape was I did connect those berries with a black Sharpie, so that they weren't just kind of sitting out there. And then I also missed taping using a dot stencil just from my stash and bringing in some white into the background there. They're really, really tiny dots. You can hardly see them, but I was glad that I did. I wish I had slowed down and chosen something else, but it worked out in the end. And I just came in with a quinacridone red and just kind of put it here and there on the background. And this is one of Shawn's stencils as well, and I'm using the peace word on there, and I'm trying to create my sentiment. I tried putting it directly on the pot, but it did not work. And so here I took just a piece of chipboard, a thin chipboard, and put it on there, and I applied a glaze on it, a raw umber glaze, which you'll see here in a moment. And then I glued it with heavy gel on the bottom part of the pot, which it actually turned out really good. And here I'm just coming in and darkening the edges, kind of creating a frame using my chalk pastel. And overall, if I were to do this piece again, I would probably lighten it up a bit, but pretty happy with it. The last thing that I'm doing here is I took some titanium white paint and thinned it down with water, and I'm just making some white splatters, which I thought was a really fun final step to this piece. I hope that you'll check out the rest of the Shawn Petite's creative team posts. We do post weekly across our team. It's a team of 8 women and incredible artists. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.